The broken promise. The war had lasted for years. Humans and aliens fought in every corner of the galaxy. Cities burned. Planets were destroyed. No one remembered why the war had started. They only knew it had to end. Commander Rain stood alone, on the battlefield. Smoke filled the air. The ground was covered with metal, blood, and silence. The war had ended here, but not with victory. Only loss. He stepped over broken machines and fallen soldiers, human and alien. His armor was damaged. One of his eyes was swollen shut. But he still walked, holding his rifle tightly, searching for someone. Then he saw her. The alien queen lay on the ground, her silver skin covered in cuts. Her breathing was slow. Her eyes, large and dark, were fixed on the sky. She did not move as Rain came closer. He dropped his weapon. She did not attack. There was no strength left in either of them. Rain kneeled beside her. "I didn't expect to see you again," he said, his voice hoarse. The queen looked at him. Her voice was soft, weak. "You came." He nodded. "I came for her." The queen coughed. A dark blue liquid ran down her mouth. She reached into her armor and pulled out a small necklace. It glowed faintly, like it was alive. "She's my daughter," the queen whispered. "They took her. The humans. I tried to stop them, but I was too late." Rain's hands trembled as he took the necklace. "Where is she?" The queen's lips barely moved. "Far. A hidden lab. Dark place. Controlled by humans. She is alone. Scared. If she dies, my people die." Rain looked at the necklace. It felt warm in his hand. The glow became stronger. "You're asking a human to save an alien child?" he asked. The queen gave a small smile. "You're not just a human. You're the only one who listened. The only one who tried to stop the war." Rain closed his eyes. He remembered the day he first met her. Not as an enemy, but during peace talks. She had wanted peace. He had believed her. But the others didn't. They wanted blood. "I promised I'd bring her home," he whispered. "I'll keep that promise." The queen's eyes closed slowly. "Thank you, Rain." And then she was gone. Rain stood up, his hands shaking. Around him, the battlefield was quiet. Only the wind moved, carrying ashes through the sky. His own army would come soon. If they found him here with the alien queen's body, they would kill him. He looked down at the glowing necklace again. Then something strange happened. A light shot out from the necklace and formed an image in front of him. A young alien girl, locked inside a small metal room. She was crying, calling out in her language. Behind her, machines beeped and blinked. Scientists walked around with cold faces. Rain stepped back in shock. The image faded, and the necklace went dim again. So it was true. The humans had taken her, a child. Rain knew what had to be done, but it wouldn't be easy. He would be hunted, both by his own kind and by aliens. No one would understand what he was trying to do. But he didn't care. He made a grave for the queen, not as an enemy, but as a mother. He placed the necklace around his neck. The glow returned, soft and steady like a heartbeat. He whispered, again, "I promised I'd bring her home." As the sun began to rise, Rain walked away from the battlefield. He did not look back. High above, in the cold black of space, a secret waited. A child waited, and Commander Rain had a promise to keep. The forbidden coordinates 3 days had passed since Commander Rain left the battlefield. He didn't sleep much. He didn't eat much. His mind was filled with questions. The alien queen's final words echoed in his ears. "She is the last. Save her." The galaxy had gone quiet. The war was over, at least on paper. But something darker was still happening, hidden from public eyes. Rain knew it. He had seen it. The necklace around his neck still glowed faintly. He could feel its warmth against his chest, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him. Rain flew a small stolen scout ship, far from the known travel routes. He avoided all patrols. He couldn't trust anyone. Not the human government, not the alien leaders. Not even old friends. But there was one person he still hoped would help. Her name was Leah Quen, an ex-hacker, once a soldier, now living in the shadows. She had once saved Rain's life during a failed mission. If anyone could unlock the secrets of the necklace, it was her. He landed his ship on a forgotten moon called Silix 9, covered in ice and dust. No cities, no armies, only silence. He entered a broken comms tower hidden deep in the ice caves. Lights flickered. Broken screens showed static. But someone was watching. "You're not welcome here, Rain," said a voice through the speakers. Rain smiled. "I brought you something interesting, Leah." A moment passed, then a door opened. Leah hadn't changed much. Short, sharp eyes, arms full of cyber tattoos, and a permanent look of distrust. She held a blaster as she let him in. "You look like death," she said. "I've been busy," Rain replied. He handed her the necklace. Leah raised an eyebrow. "Alien tech?" "More than that. It's alive. It showed me a vision, a child locked in a lab." She frowned. "You trust alien toys now?" "I trust what I saw." She sighed but plugged the necklace into her old system. Wires lit up. Her screens blinked. Symbols, alien and human, flashed quickly. Then, something unlocked. Leah leaned forward, shocked. "There's hidden coordinates inside this thing, triple encrypted. Military-grade protection, but not alien, human." Rain's heart sank. "I knew it," he said quietly. "We took her." Leah nodded. "She's being held on a ghost planet. It was erased from all maps 5 years ago. No records, no name. Just gone." "Why would they erase a planet?" She looked at him. "Because they're doing something there they don't want anyone to see." Rain clenched his fists. "We need to go there." Leah looked at him like he was crazy. "Rain, if this child is what I think she is, then they'll kill to protect her. Do you know what this means? You're fighting your own people." "I already am." Later that night, while Leah slept, Rain stared at the stars outside the small cave base. He thought about the child. Was she still alive? Could she even remember her mother's face? Suddenly, the necklace grew hot. Rain grabbed it, and the vision came again. But this time it was different. He saw the girl again, but now she wasn't alone. A tall man stood behind her, wearing a black coat with a human military badge. His face was cold. He turned toward Rain, almost like he could see him through the vision, and whispered, "She's not yours to save." Rain gasped and dropped the necklace. Leah rushed in. "What happened?" "She's in danger," he said, breathless. "They know I'm coming." Leah looked at the screen. "Rain, something's wrong. The signal from the necklace, it just pinged back. Someone found us." Rain stood up. "We need to leave. Now." Outside, a large shadow passed over the moon. A drone ship, black, fast, and silent, had arrived. Rain and Leah ran to the scout ship. Alarms screamed in the cave as gunfire broke the silence. The drone fired at them, but Leah was fast, hacking the cave defenses as they escaped. The ship lifted off, the ice exploded behind them. Leah stared at Rain. "We're being hunted." Rain looked ahead, eyes locked on the stars. "Then let them come." Back on Earth, in a secret underground lab, the man from Rain's vision stood in front of a large glass chamber. Inside, the alien child sat quietly, her eyes glowing faintly. Scientist approached. "Sir, we lost the signal. He escaped." The man nodded. "No matter. Let him come. We need him here. For the final phase." He turned to the girl. "She's not just the last of her kind. She's the key to everything." The ghost planet. The stars looked colder near the edge of the galaxy. Rain had been to many places during the war. Burned cities, frozen moons, lost colonies. But this place, This planet didn't even have a name, only a code, DX-37. It was supposed to be destroyed 5 years ago. That's what the record said, but the coordinates in the Queen's necklace told a different story. As Rain's ship came closer, he saw it. A dead world. Gray clouds covered the sky. The surface looked cracked, dry, lifeless. No lights. No signals. No cities. Just silence. But Rain knew better. He knew something was hiding beneath. Leah sat beside him, checking the readings. No communication. No defense systems. No orbit patrols, she said. It's like this place doesn't want to exist. Rain narrowed his eyes. That's exactly why we're here. They landed near an old mining station. Broken buildings, rusted machines, long forgotten. A cold wind howled across the empty land. As they stepped out, every sound seemed louder than it should be. Their boots crunched on the dry ground. Metal doors creaked like they hadn't moved in years. Leah scanned the area. I'm picking up underground energy pulses, faint but real. Something's still running down there. Rain found a hatch hidden under a pile of rocks. It was locked, but Leah hacked it open in seconds. A dark tunnel led deep into the ground. They went in. The air was heavy. Dust floated like tiny ghosts. Their lights barely reached the walls. Strange writing covered the metal. Part human, part alien. Warning signs, numbers, symbols. Rain's voice echoed softly. This doesn't look like a lab, Leah whispered. It looks like a prison. They walked deeper. The walls began to change. They weren't metal anymore. They were growing, like something organic had taken over. The lights flickered. Then they heard it. A soft humming. A child's voice. Singing. Rain froze. That's her. They followed the voice through a long hallway until they reached a locked door. Leah worked fast. As it opened, Rain stepped inside and stopped. In the center of the room was a small bed. A child sat there drawing on the floor with her finger. Glowing lines appeared where she touched. Her skin was pale silver. Her eyes, deep black with shining stars, looked up at him. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She looked at him and smiled. I know you, she said softly. You're the one from the visions. Rain felt his throat tighten. I promised your mother I'd bring you home. Her smile faded. You're late. Before Rain could speak again, the walls began to shake. Alarms echoed through the lab. Red lights blinked. Heavy metal doors slammed, shut behind them. Leah checked her device. Something just triggered the security system. We need to move. The child stood up calmly and walked to Rain. She reached out and touched the necklace. Suddenly, the walls showed images, holograms, flashes of what happened in the lab, human scientists running experiments, machines scanning the child, soldiers guarding her day and night, a man in a black coat watching silently from the shadows. Rain watched in horror. They were using you. The girl nodded. They said I could help fix things, but they lied. They wanted to use my mind, my blood. A deep voice filled the room from hidden speakers. You should not have come here, Commander Rain. It was him. The man from the vision. The one who stood behind the child. You stole a project that could have saved humanity. Now you'll die with it. The lights went out. Everything turned dark. Something moved in the shadows. A loud metal growl. Heavy footsteps. Rain raised his weapon. Leah pulled the child behind her. Then they saw it. A tall creature stepped into the light. It was part human, part alien. Wires ran through its body. Its eyes glowed red. It had no mouth, only a breathing mask. Its arms were too long. Its chest opened like a cage. It was built to kill. Built from experiments, built from her DNA. The girl whispered, They call it the Echo. The Echo spoke, its voice robotic and hollow. Subject escape detected. All witnesses will be terminated. Rainey shouted, "Run!" They raced through the hallway. Doors slammed behind them. The echo chased, smashing through walls. Leah opened a vent, and they crawled inside. It was tight, dark. The child shivered, but didn't cry. Rain whispered, "I won't. Let them take you again." The child looked into his eyes. "I believe you." Finally, they reached an old exit shaft, but the ship was gone. Rain looked up. In the sky above, a massive human warship hovered. The same ship from his vision. He clenched his jaw. They knew. We'd come. Behind them, the echo roared. The ground shook. Rain loaded his last weapon. Leah powered up a signal beacon. No way out. Not yet. But he wouldn't stop now. He had come too far. He looked at the child. "I will bring you home, no matter what it takes." The child and the monster. The warship in the sky was silent, but its presence was loud. It hovered like a predator, its dark shape blocking out the stars. Commander Rain stood at the edge of the broken platform, the alien child beside him, and Leah ready with her pulse rifle. They were trapped between the sky above and the monster hunting them from below. Rain looked down the empty valley where their ship had once been. Nothing but wind and ash remained. "They wanted us here," Leah muttered. "This was all a trap." Rain nodded. "Then let's break it." Behind them, metal groaned. The ground trembled again. The echo was coming. They ran toward the ruins of an old tower, once part of the abandoned mining station. It was half collapsed, wires hanging like vines, lights flickering weakly. Inside, it was cold and hollow. The child walked silently between the broken consoles and shattered screens, her black eyes scanning everything. She didn't seem afraid. "Why, did they do this to you?" Rain asked as they moved through the darkness. The child touched a wall. It lit up, glowing blue with lines of code and alien symbols. "Because they're scared," she said softly. "Of what I am, of what I could become." Leah raised an eyebrow. "And what is that?" The girl didn't answer, but her eyes glowed brighter. Rain turned to Leah. "This echo thing, it knew we were here. It called her subject. They made it from her, didn't they?" Leah looked grim. "She's the original. The echo is a copy. A weapon grown from her DNA combined with cybernetics and war AI. It's not just a monster. It's a reflection of what they fear." Rain stared at the child again. She wasn't just the queen's daughter. She was a living key. Suddenly, the tower's walls cracked. A heavy footstep echoed. Then another. Then silence. Rain raised his rifle. Leah powered up a flash bomb. The child stood still. "It's watching us," she said. "Listening," Rain whispered. "Where?" She pointed upward. The ceiling shattered. The echo dropped down. It landed in front of them, massive and cold, its glowing red eyes locking onto the child. Its body was part armor, part flesh, with long arms ending in sharp claws. Tubes pumped dark liquid through its chest, and behind its mask it breathed like a dying animal. Rain fired first. The shots bounced off its armor. Leah threw the flash. White light exploded across the room, blinding even Rain for a moment. But the echo didn't stop. It grabbed Rain and slammed him against the wall. His breath left his lungs. Leah fired again and again, but the monster was too fast, too strong. Then it turned to the child. She stood still. The echo paused. It tilted its head, confused, like it was seeing something. It didn't understand. The child stepped forward. "Why do you wear my skin?" she asked. The echo didn't answer. The girl raised her hand. The necklace around Rain's neck pulsed with light, and a wave of blue energy surged through the room. The echo stumbled back, screeching, sparks flying from its chest. The child's eyes glowed like stars. "You're not me," she said. "You're what they wanted me to be." And then she screamed. Not in fear. In rage. The windows shattered. The walls cracked. The echo staggered, roaring as its body began to tear apart. Circuits exploded, metal twisted. Leah pulled Rain up. "We have to move." But Rain didn't look away. The girl's power wasn't just energy. It was memory. The room filled with images again. This time not just hers, but Rain's too. His time in the war. The peace talks that failed. The Queen's face as she died. All of it played like a storm in the air. And then it stopped. The echo fell to its knees and spoke. "Help me." Its voice was broken. Human. Rain stepped closer. Beneath the mask, a face appeared, half human, half machine. A soldier, young, eyes full of pain. Rain recognized him. He had once served with him. Years ago. Thought he'd died in battle. "They used us both," the echo whispered. "She's not the only one." And then it shut down. The room went quiet. The girl walked over and touched the echo's head. "He was like me," she said, "but broken too many times." Rain nodded. "We'll make sure no one else becomes like this." Suddenly, Leah's screen flashed red. They know the echo failed. They're sending a retrieval team. Rain grabbed his gear. "We need to move. Underground. Find where they kept her, what else they were building." The child turned to a wall, placed her hand on it, and a hidden door opened. Behind it, a staircase led down into blackness. Rain looked at Leah. "Ready to go deeper into hell?" Leah smirked. "Always." The child whispered, "The real monster is still below." Escape through fire. The staircase into the underground was narrow and steep. Rain held the child's hand as they walked down, his other hand on his rifle. Leah followed, scanning for traps. The air grew hotter the deeper they went. Lights flickered on the walls, dim, red, and pulsing like veins. The deeper they went, the more it felt like they weren't inside a lab. They were inside something alive. After 15 minutes, the stairs opened into a huge chamber. It stretched as far as the eye could see. Metal mixed with alien matter, walls breathing slowly like lungs. Blue lights floated in the air like fireflies. And in the center stood a giant glass column. Inside it was a beating heart. It was not human, not fully alien either. Leah whispered, "This is biocore fusion. They're using her DNA to power this thing." The child looked away. "They said I was born for this, to power their future." Rain stepped closer to the glass. "What is it?" The girl placed her hand on the column. Visions filled the air. They saw rows of sleeping pods, each holding half human, half alien beings. Some were children, others were soldiers. All were silent, their eyes closed. "They were building an army," Rain muttered. "Not to protect Earth, but to replace everyone." "They call it Project Regenesis," the girl said. "They wanted to wipe out both species, start over with something new." Alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. Warning. Intruder alert. Containment breach. Doors slammed shut above. Fire rained down through the shafts. Rain shouted, "They're destroying the lab." Leah pulled out a remote device. "They've triggered a self-destruct, 5 minutes until meltdown." The ground shook. Flames erupted from the walls. They ran, but not before the girl turned and looked at the heart one last time. "I want it to stop beating," she said coldly. "Forever." Rain fired at the glass column. Leah threw a detonation charge. The heart screamed, not with sound, but with pressure. The room bent inward. Lights exploded. The fire chased them like a living beast. As they reached the upper tunnels, the floor cracked open. Rain pushed the child forward, just in time. But a shadow moved above them, a voice echoed. "You shouldn't have come back, Rain." It was him, the man in black. General Voss Rain's old commander. The man who once led peace missions. The man who disappeared after the war ended. Rain pointed his weapon. "You did this?" Voss stepped into the light, calm, untouched by fire. "The war never ended, Rain. It just changed shape. You lied to everyone. I did what I had to, Voss said. This child is not just a weapon, she's a map to the future. One where we control both evolution and war. Peace was never an option. You experimented on children. You killed her mother. Voss didn't flinch. Her mother was weak, emotional. She didn't see what her daughter could become. The girl stepped forward. She saw me. You only see power. Voss raised his hand. A shockwave hit Rain and Leah, throwing them against the wall. Voss reached for the child, but she didn't run. She stood still, face calm. You want a weapon? She said. The necklace glowed white-hot. Then here's your war. The room exploded, in blue light. Voss screamed as the energy hit him. Machines failed, his armor cracked, flames wrapped around him. The walls fell inward. Rain grabbed Leah and the child and they ran. Behind them, the entire core collapsed. Fire swallowed everything. They reached the upper level, barely. Their backup ship, hidden by Leah days ago, blinked on their comms. They had one shot. Rain carried the girl. Leah covered them, firing at security drones coming from every side. Metal melted under the heat. Explosions shook the landing pad. The girl looked back one last time. The entire base was burning. She whispered, "Let it burn." They jumped into the ship. From orbit, they watched the planet crack. The lab collapsed into fire. Then the whole surface caved in. Slowly, like the world was finally letting go of its secrets. Silence returned. Rain turned to the girl. We destroyed it. She looked at him, sad but strong. No. We stopped it. That's not the same. Leah nodded. Voss wasn't working alone. Someone helped him. Someone higher. Rain gritted his teeth. Then we go after them next. The girl closed her eyes. They know I escaped. They'll come for me. Rain put a hand on her shoulder. Let them come. This time we're ready. Back on Earth, deep underground in a hidden chamber, a council of shadowed figures watched the footage of the destroyed lab. One of them leaned forward. So, the Queen's daughter lives. Another replied, then our plan must change. A third voice, cold and sharp, spoke the final words. Activate Phase 2, the trial of betrayal. They returned to Earth in silence. The sky above the planet looked peaceful. Calm blue, white clouds, no sign of war. But Rain knew better. Peace was only a mask. Underneath, the real war still lived, hidden in shadows, behind clean offices and polished metals, and now they were walking straight into the lion's den. As soon as their ship landed at an old military base in the Arctic Circle, Rain and Leah were surrounded. Dozens of soldiers pointed weapons. Drones hovered. Cameras rolled. The girl was taken away. Rain raised his hands. She's not a threat. A cold voice answered. But you are. Out stepped General Halden, head of Earth Defense Command. An old man in a perfect uniform, eyes like steel. He had once called Rain a hero. Now he called him a traitor. Commander Rain, Halden said. You're under arrest for high treason, illegal contact with enemy species, theft of classified tech, and endangering human security. Leah shouted, She's a child, you used her like a machine. Halden didn't blink. She's a lab product, nothing more. Rain looked around at the soldiers. Not one of them moved. Not one of them spoke. Fear ruled here now. 3 days later. Rain sat in a cold steel room, alone. They didn't let him speak to Leah. They didn't tell him where the girl was. Then the door opened. A man walked in, not a soldier, a lawyer in a dark suit. He placed a file on the table and sat across from Rain. He didn't introduce himself. Instead, he opened the file. Project Regenesis. Unauthorized access. A dead planet suddenly explodes. A weaponized child escapes with classified genetic code. He looked up. That's your version of peace? Rain stared back. That was your version of progress. The trial was held in a private courtroom deep underground. No press, no audience. Only high-ranking officers, silent judges, and one man in chains. Rain stood in the center, under bright lights, while voices around him spoke lies dressed as facts. He abandoned his unit. He aided an alien queen. He returned with a dangerous hybrid lifeform. Rain spoke only once. I made a promise and I kept it. That's more than any of you did. The judges looked at each other. Then one spoke. You were once a hero, Rain. You should have stayed one. But just as the verdict was about to be announced, the lights in the chamber flickered, and a soft voice echoed through the room. You forgot one witness. Gasps filled the courtroom. From the back doors stepped the girl. She was no longer afraid, no longer quiet. She walked calmly toward the center, eyes glowing slightly, her voice steady. You all think I'm a weapon, she said, but I'm just a child who remembers everything. She raised her hand, and the air shimmered. Suddenly, memories began to project in the air, like a movie made of truth. Her inside the lab, crying. Scientists talking about harvest cycles. Voss ordering her mother's death. Soldiers injecting her with machines. Rain promising to bring her home. The room was silent. One judge whispered, Is this real? She turned to him. It's my life. Rain watched as the walls of lies crumbled. One by one, the officers looked away in shame. But not Halden. He stood up. None of this changes what she is. That thing is not human. She doesn't belong in our world. The girl turned to him. I don't need to belong, I just want to live. Then she looked at the judges. So, will you let me? Outside the courtroom, explosions rocked the base. Security alarms blared. Halden smirked. It's too late. They're already here. Rain grabbed his weapon. Who's here? Halden stepped back as metal doors exploded. Black armored soldiers stormed in. Not Earth defense. Not alien private forces. Hired by the secret council that funded Regenesis. They weren't here for a trial. They were here for a collection. Rain pulled, the girl behind him. Leah appeared from a side corridor already firing. Whole base is compromised, she shouted. We need to get out now. The girl reached out. Machines all around her began to flicker, then die. Rain turned to her. Can you stop them? She shook her head. No, but I can slow them. She closed her eyes. Every camera, drone, and light exploded. The power of her memory, her mind, was stronger than ever. But it came with a cost. She fell to her knees, weak. Rain caught her. We're going home. They escaped through underground tunnels. Behind them, the courtroom burned. Above them, the sky opened with war again. But for the first time, the truth had seen daylight. And somewhere in the shadows, the council watched. One voice whispered, She's evolving, faster than we planned. Another answered, Then Phase 3 must begin. A new queen rises. They hid among the ruins of an old rebel base in the mountains. The snowstorm outside was violent. Winds howled like wolves. Drones searched the skies. Earth was no longer safe. Not for them, not for her. The girl, the last of her kind, sat near the fire, her silver skin dim, her eyes dull. She hadn't spoken in 2 days. Her body was growing weaker. The necklace glowed, but the light was fading. Rain stood watch near the entrance, his rifle ready. He had seen war before. He had seen monsters, betrayal, fire. But nothing scared him more than watching her fade away. She's not just a child anymore, he whispered. She's becoming something else. Something larger. Leah stepped beside him. The council wants her, but they don't understand her. They think she's a key, a weapon, a threat. Rain looked at her. They're wrong. Somewhere deep underground, the council gathered one last time. 11 figures seated in a circle of light, their faces hidden by shadows. Phase 2 has failed, one said. She survived. Voss is dead. Halden is missing, said another. Then we activate the final protocol. The leader spoke. Phase 3. Erasure. All nodded. A button was pressed, and the hunt began. Back in the mountains, the girl finally spoke. I can feel them. They're coming. Rain rushed to her side. You're too weak. You need to rest. She shook her head. I don't need rest. I need peace. Suddenly, the necklace burned hot against Rain's chest. He pulled it off, and it cracked. Voice echoed inside his mind. The queen. Her mother. You kept your promise, Rain. Now give her what I couldn't. The necklace shattered into dust. The girl gasped, then collapsed. Her body began to glow. Her veins lit up blue. The ground trembled. Leah pulled Rain back. What's happening to her? Rain watched as the girl rose into the air, eyes closed, body still glowing like a star. She's becoming the queen. But just then the mountain exploded. Ships landed. Troops swarmed in. Bullets filled the air. Rain fired back. Leah hacked the base defenses, but it wasn't enough. A massive mech dropped from the sky, 20 feet tall, powered by Regenesis tech. The new monster of Phase 3. Cold, unstoppable. The girl opened her eyes, and time seemed to stop. She whispered, "No more war." Her voice echoed in the minds of every soldier, every drone, every machine. They froze, one by one, weapons shut down. Machines powered off. Even the giant mech lowered its arms. She floated forward. I am not your enemy. I am not your weapon. I am the future you feared. Rain stepped toward her. You can stop this, can't you? She nodded. I can end the fighting, but not alone. She looked at him. I need you. Rain looked at Leah. Leah nodded. Whatever it takes. Rain held the girl's hand. Blue light surged from her body, through him, through the earth. It spread like a wave, reaching every corner of the sky. Machines stopped working. Missiles dropped. Before launch, secret labs lost power. The council's own chamber went dark. Their plan was over. But power has a price. The girl's body fell to the ground. Rain rushed to her. No, no, stay with me. She smiled. Don't cry, Rain, I'm not dying. Light rose from her chest. A new form, brighter, stronger. Her body reformed. Her eyes opened. This time, they weren't the eyes of a child. They were the eyes of a queen. The storm outside cleared. Every drone flew away. The soldiers dropped their weapons and walked as if freed from a dream. The war was over. Weeks later, a ceremony was held in the new capital. People gathered, humans and aliens, side by side, to honor those who fought for peace. In the center stood a statue. It showed a man holding a child's hand. The words on the base read, "He promised he'd bring her home." And he did. Rain stood far from the crowd, watching. He didn't want medals. He didn't want fame. He only wanted to see her smile one more time. And then, she appeared, wearing silver robes, her skin glowing, her presence calm and powerful. She walked to him. Thank you, Rain. He nodded. What now? She smiled. Now, we heal.